Hey there, everyone. Before you go on and listen to the episode today, I just wanted to let you know that JumperScape is doing something very, very cool with a bunch of artists and a bunch of producers to make something incredible happen. We are producing Halo community calendars for 2025. It contains dates from in the universe, from out of the universe, the birthdays of some of your favorite organizations and creators. It's all there. You can find us on discord.gg/JumperScape if you want more information, or just search it up on Indiegogo or Google. You'll find it. 2025 Halo Community Calendar. It'll pop up. So please support it. If you support the Indiegogo, you'll get the calendar. If you support even more, you'll get a plushie. If you support even more, you'll get an exclusive game night with all of the artists who have joined in on this. We have a lot to offer. So if it sounds like something you'd be interested in, if you want a really nice calendar on your wall that is going to fit with your Halo collections, then please consider supporting us.
The Halo universe is filled with wonder, mystery, and fascinating discoveries around every corner. With so much to explore, four friends decided it was about time that they booted up their consoles and discussed this universe that has grabbed their attention since childhood. JumperScape Audio kindly welcomes you to join them in the library.
Hello everybody, welcome back to The Library, the show where we talk about Halo lore. And today we are back on Halo Spartan Assault and Strike because we have to trudge through the mud to get to the good stuff.
The mud.
That's all that it is. I'm not 100% excited to talk about it because I do like the games, but the story is...
womp womp.
It's good. It's just
Womp
shallow.
womp.
It's just shallow is all it is. So... To get things started off, we're gonna do something that we don't ever normally do. Hi, I'm Austin.
Hi, I'm Shane.
Hi, I'm James.
I'm Connor.
Yeah, the hosts. We're gonna make it better once we hit the new season, but we're getting used to it. So, because new season, guys, we're gonna be trying to actually like be formal a little bit at the beginning. At least.
Little bit.
Just a little bit at the beginning.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
I don't know if we can do
A tiny
it.
bit of formal is all right.
I don't know if we
Full
can be formal.
That's a bit much.
But that is not all that we have in store. We also have a very special guest. For those of you who were around during the time when Halo Reach Machinima was the thing and the name Arbiter617 was just circling all sorts of, let's say, clans and online forums and all that sort of stuff, you probably have heard of Rise of the Spartans. Well, today we have our very special guest, the voice actor for Brass, Mr. Edward James, has joined us today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Wait, they let me in? Holy shoot. I mean, I'm so happy to be here. Yeah. I'm Edward James, also known on the Xbox Live as Halo Savior 007. Not Halo Survivor like all the fans voice message me. Still happens to this very day. I voice acted from 2008 to currently. There are still Machinimas being made. Do not be fooled.
Ooh.
I am in all of them. I am sorry.
I apologize.
I mean, you've been in it, like, it's not just Rise of the Spartans you're known for. What are some other projects that you think that people might have heard you at least once with or without them knowing, maybe?
There was a series by Jamie98 who created the machinima of 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. It was called The Event. Yeah, he made a series that was like World of Warcraft mods. It was called The Adventures of Cocoa Bear. I played the bad guy and the Spartan that was in it, which makes sense. There was another group called Blood Signature Films. They did movies like in Halo 3 mostly, like Desolate, Ataraxia. That's probably one of my most known roles outside of Rise of the Spartans. And he also did some Minecraft stuff. Who else? I did stuff with Polycore Media. I did my own Power Rangers Halo 3 Machinima series with Overcast Halo. I did some stuff with Halo Union, including announcer stuff. else did I do? Oh, I did Clans of Sang Helios for Meta Infinite. Odyssey for one named Cass Scarab 9, I believe. And I could go on forever, but you know, I want to toot my own horn when I don't have to, unless I'm asked.
Well, you're being asked, so just on and off, on and off. You can feel free to just drop all of the stuff they
invited you here by all means.
I'm just saying, you get to have some fun while you're here. As we like to say,
we'd like to have fun here.
We like to have fun.
Yeah, I can have fun here. We like to have fun here all the time.
Well, if you like to have fun, let me give you one that most people have forgotten about. There was a time when 343 did a machinima contest where you could win prizes, trips to Halo Fest, money, and I was involved with a group called Firelight Studios who made a video called The 10-Year Grenade, where I played some random Spartan. And we had a plasma grenade thrown from Halo 1, and it went through all the Halo games, 2, 3, 4. It was so beautifully edited, and it went in the top 5 machinimas. I think the winner was actually Kagi Films, funny enough. But into the top 5. And also, when they were releasing Halo 4, we did like a reaction video machinima. And BS Angel, who was in charge of community stuff for 343, actually spotlighted the video and quoted my line at the end. I was like, Halo 4. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's sick. I love that.
Nice.
So you've been around the block basically with Machinima, pretty much a lot of projects. And you said you're still doing Machinima right now? Is that something that you're still active in?
Yeah, I just did voice recordings last night, and again 2 months ago, and again 4 months ago. And I do a lot of animation and audio plays and stuff like that. I just did, like a couple months ago, a Has Been Hotel audio thing as Alistair. That was fun.
That's entertaining.
And
so you don't stay in the Machinima realm then. You branch out occasionally.
Oh yeah, no, I do a lot of like celebrity impressions, kids parties with my puppeteering as Kermit the Frog. It's pretty fun stuff.
What is your favorite celebrity impression?
Oh, hey, I'm gonna avoid political ones. But I suppose Jason Statham is my favorite one to do.
I had to know. I just had to know.
Yeah. Well, if you have to know, all you have to do is ask.
That's basically him. That's beautiful.
Do you have a least favorite person?
What's one that you hate when people ask you to do?
And can you do it?
I hate when people ask me in a public setting to do Miss Piggy. Because I can, and it freaks everyone out.
I mean, rightfully
like, yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Well, hey, here in the most public setting that you could possibly be in, why not? Just a little taste.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop drinking my water before I have a spit take.
Hey, me too.
I had to put my drink down as well.
Hey, Kermit, I know you don't like talking to your wife, but yeah, all right. Piggy, can you come and say hi? Yes, yes. Who are you people? Why don't you know me already?
That's pretty good.
That's actually solid. It's kind of scary solid, actually.
Well,
just ahead of time.
is because Piggy and Fozzie and Sam the Eagle are all the same guy. Oh, because I could do Fozzie, I'm like, oh, that means I must be able to do the others. And that's correct. I can bear it all and be a true American.
Well, just so you know, you did sign the contract on the way in. You can't sue us for anything that we may or may not have forced you into. So thanks for the Miss Piggy.
You sound just like 343.
That is the biggest insult.
Okay, actually, for real, though. So you had an opportunity to do something with 343. Is that correct?
Yes. So I actually... This is going to sound much cooler than it actually is. No, actually, it's still pretty damn cool. I was actually playing with, let's see, my friends at Firelight Studios. We actually got to play some Halo 4 with some of the people who worked at 343. It was random, out of nowhere. And my friend Josh was like, oh, this is BS Angel. I'm like, really? And then I was like, hey, how do you get to voice in that? And she gave me the name of the studio. It's probably not the same one it is now. Don't ask me which one it was. I forgot. And they were at the time looking for someone to fill in the voice, because if you didn't know, in Halo 5, Michael Coulter, who does the motion capture and, you know, his face is in the game as the character, he did not actually voice Spartan Locke. He had to go and do Luke Cage, which I applaud him for. I love that show. But they had to get someone. Ike Amati got it. I'm glad he got it. But they were looking for somebody who could voice match Mike Coulter. And I actually can voice match both Ike Amati and Michael Coulter. So a lot of people do ask me to voice match Luke Cage. I'm like, I can if I can slip into one of his MCC lines first, because that's how I trigger it. A lot of voice actors have a sentence that triggers the voice. So even though it doesn't sound like I could sound anything like Michael Coulter, completely different person for me.
Which is why I'm sharing it with you now. We're talking about trust after all. May I ask you something? Your people used to call him Demon. Is that an insult or a compliment?
Is that close?
So sick. I could feel it slipping into the voice as you progress through the line. I see what you're talking about with having to kind of prep yourself into it.
Yeah. But here's the trick part. When you live in New York, most of your voice acting is going to be marketing stuff. So if you heard a Windows 8 commercial, you probably heard me. And unfortunately, for something like Halo, they're very into the Hollywood aspect. They would rather have somebody they can direct in person. And I, at the time, could not afford to fly, and I don't like to fly anyway, all the way to Seattle. So when it came time for me to show up, I couldn't. And that's okay, because, you know, kind of weird at 23 years old going all the way out to Washington just to audition for something you might not get. It's like, what, $700 gone for maybe not making the money?
If that, yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, but you know what? They got a great person. I was still new to voice acting, and I was perfectly fine becoming the Halo community's Deadpool in brass.
That's a good comparison.
That's a really good comparison.
Yeah, I like that.
So are you still looking into or active in any of the gaming industry? Is it like, are you just sticking in marketing, or are you actually like out there trying to get into other games?
Well, I'm not trying to just get into games. I'm trying to be in animation. I was inspired when I was a kid by Robin Williams in Aladdin, and he actually helped me inspire because, believe it or not, I stuttered a lot. And voice acting helped me go from a monotone Ben Stein to a crazy Ben Stein with a Joaquin Phoenix Joker level craziness on the side.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, when a telemarketer calls, I have so much fun with that.
Oh, I bet.
You've reached the Crypt Keeper's vault. Please leave a message and I'll be sure to track back your call.
That's so cool. Gosh. And that's actually the Crypt Keeper too. That was pretty awesome. That was pretty. That just clicked. I don't know why that didn't hit immediately, but it just clicked for me.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the most stable career. On the side,
sure.
I'm a chef. I cook. Yeah.
He's cooking every day.
Let him cook.
I just tell people at Chipotle, get in line. I mean, most of them won't get that reference.
Not even I do, to be honest. What was it a reference to?
Rise of the Spartans. Killing me.
See, like I said, years ago, I watched this series, okay? I loved it when I was growing up, and then it just... It came and went. I still have it in my list of rewatching. It's just there's so many machinima that I forgot that I watched. I don't know if it's what was the one that I remember. There was one that was called The Ones We Left Behind, I think. And that was the one that kicked off like my rewatch of everything. Usually everybody's like, "Oh, I'm rewatching Red vs. Blue." And it's like, "Well, yeah, obviously you're going to at some point, but if you were talking about machinima, the stuff that didn't go commercial, then
yeah.
I love The Day Before.
I
It's one of my
remember-
favorites.
I remember loving it when I got into HMV Hell 5, just body acting. But I was like, I'm suck. Oh my God. And he's like, you're really cool. You stayed the whole 10 hours to help us body act. And I'm like, yes. I play suck? No. Oh, okay.
That's awesome. Yes. Oh gosh. I mean, it is true. HMV Hell. I remember those. I remember, like, gosh, it's weird to think about because it feels like it's not been that long, but then you actually have to consider it's been so freaking long. And I'm guessing even though it's been so long, you actually still get people that ask about Rise of the Spartans. Probably actually a lot more recently since there's been a little bit of a something that came up last year.
Yeah, that did come up last year, but no, I get at least 3 people a month, and most time it's...
Oh my God. I loved Rise of Spartans. I watched it when I was 8 years old.
I'm just like, that's great. Now keep being awesome because you can be as cool as me. And that's the truth. People think I'm cool, and that is awesome. In reality, it was a pleasure to be everyone's entertainment when they were getting through high school and for some reason didn't want to go to the movie theater and wanted to watch people puppeteering Halo parts on video game. But you know what? It's amazing how many people went on to filmmaking after that. It is great.
Yep. I can completely understand, and I completely agree as well. Well, speaking of things that can be arguably cool, Halo Spartan Assault and Halo Spartan Strike.
What a segue. That's
Thank
what we're
you.
here for. That was a terrible segue is what I'm saying.
That's the whole point.
I don't think we ever have good segues here.
No.
They usually go like that.
We just start like yapping. We're like, oh, we're talking about.
I save all of my good segues from when we have like authors. Because that I know they're keeping a mental track of how my mental tracks.
Fair enough.
I'll keep my review short. I played it. That's it.
Honestly, more than I can say.
You've never played them?
I've played them very briefly with you.
You want to know something even crazier?
I played all of them yesterday.
You played them all.
10
Okay,
hours straight.
so you got caught up. These guys, they're dropping the ball.
Didn't we discover this the last time we talked about these games?
Yeah, but then I was thinking if we're gonna revisit it, surely you guys will play it so that you have a better ground to talk about it.
I'm gonna need you to chill with the high expectations.
It's like for anyone who's watching on Patreon, patreon.com/JumperScape, or listening. The whole game is like an hour long. It's not too long of an experience.
I don't have an hour.
Yeah. How much did it retail for when it was new?
It was like $20, I think, maybe 20, 30.
Okay, that's not terrible price for back then.
It was
fine.
like it was way cheaper on mobile. It
I
might have been even.
I think of it as a mobile game, so hearing 20-30 for a mobile game sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it was either free on mobile or it was $5 on mobile. But then when it got ported to Steam and Xbox, that's when the price raised.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But there is supposedly stuff to talk about when it comes to this story. And primarily what I wanted to touch on was not just all the stuff about what we see with Palmer and Spartan Davis and all of that doing their thing. Because like their stories, strangely enough, you know what? This is what I'll do. Because there's really not a whole lot to talk about with Spartan Assault and Strike. I will instead segue this into talking about one of the most questionable pieces of Halo's external media that I've ever interacted with, and that's the Waypoint Chronicles / the Cannon Fodder. Mr. James, do you ever find yourself like, I want to read one of the chronicles that came out recently? Ever?
Sometimes.
Really? Okay.
He said ever.
No, I
ever
don't
at all, even a little bit.
No. No, I have a more how do I say this? I have a more polite interest in what 343 does in terms of lore and stuff. I even watched the Halo show. Hi.
Are you okay?
Yeah, yes. No, it was fine. I just seen I could have done better. I could have done better than what they did.
Are you relieved they kind of just scrapped it, at least for the time being?
No, there's where the Christopher Nolan's like, I'll buy that from you and I'll make it good. And
I've heard
like,
that.
oh,
I
that's
don't
interesting.
I've heard it. I do not buy it for a second.
I don't know if I do.
I don't
either.
know if Christopher Nolan would be willing to look at a dead horse and say, "I can revive him."
Dead horse. I was thinking more like dumpster fire. Dead horse is putting it lightly.
To be fair, we had Peter Jackson and Neil Blomkamp on this stuff back in 2007. They couldn't even finish it.
man. I love that stuff so
Yeah.
much. I was so mad when I found out that it was Bungie. That was the reason why they didn't execute. They were like, "Oh, Blomkamp can't make this stuff," and then he makes
the Halo. Was it the scrapped Halo movie?
that Garland was writing.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure.
Because Peter Jackson was like, "I got other things to do," and then backs out, and then Blomkamp
we basically got it with District 9. They basically used the
that's
stuff
the thing is that he
made.
was just like, "Well, we're far enough along in production. I'm just gonna make my own movie out of the assets you gave me."
I was gonna say that didn't they use a lot of the assets that were supposed to be in that for District 9?
If you watch District 9, you're gonna be like, that looks a lot like Halo. And
I have
just
it's been.
I've got to watch it again.
It's an older, not too old, but it's older. It was out when I was a kid, so it's just like
it was made from the scraps of the Halo movie.
And I would have went absolutely insane for a Halo movie. Like, oh my god, I would have ate it up as a kid.
They missed that opportunity.
Amazingly, it was so low budget, you couldn't believe what they did with the budget they had. Like this was like oh god, how low of a budget? This was like 20-something million dollars, and they did stuff that even $100 million movies don't do. The CG looked better than Dial of Destiny, Indiana Jones, and that was $375 million.
Well, I think that
Easy.
we're starting to see that it's pretty obvious that people are more interested these days in making money than they are in actually creating. So we have people bloating the price. Like when you watch something, let's say like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, where in the world is that budget coming from? Because it's in the top 10 most expensive movies of all time. All Disney films in that top 10, by the way. And none of the movies in that top 10, except maybe like a select couple few, feel like they should have been valued at that price, which it sounds to me like somebody is like the pool is getting diluted enough by people that are just saying that they are more valuable than they really actually are. Well, because they want to make money.
It's not even just the movie industry. It's seeped into gaming as well. Like you could argue that it's definitely a little bit more prominent in gaming. Like you could argue, doesn't mean I guess it. You could argue both sides, but like it's absolutely prominent in gaming these days. Like I look at a game like Helldivers when that first came out and how well that was doing, as opposed to like the show that is current day Call of Duty. And it's just like Call of Duty, like Activision, Infinity Ward, AAA studio. And then you look at Helldivers, and there was just much more. I don't want to say fan service. It was just more player friendly for at least the time until Sony did some of the stupid that they did. But it just hasn't. It's just money. There's like no passion these days.
No.
Yeah, remember when Peter Dinklage was in Destiny? Apparently, he thought the script was Game of Tones because he had like no tone, and that really
that was
upset
pretty
me
funny.
Because, yeah,
I one missed Dinklebot.
I would have loved that role that he had.
I just got to say, like, I for one, I missed Dinklebot. There was something about having just an emotionless robot following you around.
I think part of it is a lot of these big name actors take like a big chunk of that budget to hire.
Oh yeah,
because they know they can ask for whatever. Especially from Disney.
That's the thing. That's why I really love how meta the new Deadpool Wolverine is. Because like, do you have any idea what he was doing to the budget?
Like, I mean, and that's the thing. I feel like most movies I like these days, most of the cast is relative unknowns / like smaller stars. Like.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's a voice actress I know. She gets maybe like $1,400 for a voice in a movie. And meanwhile, Cameron Diaz is coming back for Shrek 5, and she's going to get $35 million, $50 million,
doing basically the same work.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's annoying. I mean, I get people all the time who want to hire me. I'm like, this is my price. And then they're like, I'll use AI. And I'm like, you know what? That's disgusting. I'd rather just do it for you because I'd rather get out there than some fake thing. I mean, 90% of my stuff I do for free. When I hit big, I do. And it's I'm glad I like the art more than I like the money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good place to be. That fits really well with our values here, actually.
Yeah. I'm glad I like the podcasting more than the money, too.
We do all sorts of stuff around here, so we can completely understand that perspective 100%. There's actually Arash still doesn't believe that we will do work for him for free. I've brought it up to so many different creators. Like, there are only specific circumstances where we'll start charging for things, and that's usually like, hey, we need you to regularly make recaps and highlight reels of our streams that are 4, 5, 6 hours long. And we need you to do that like semi-frequently. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be a little bit of something now. Because now you're consistently taking my time. But in most cases, I don't know if I ever explained this to you on this one, but for the most part, if I'm doing contract work, like if someone's contracting me out to do VFX, SFX, voice acting even, I will almost always ask for McChickens.
Oh, I mean, if you ever need a negotiating,
paid in McChickens.
I mean, if you ever need a negotiating part, let me know. I could be like, listen, you gotta pay my buddies over here. Have you seen the Indiegogo? They're having a calendar year, literally.
I mean, it is, I'll do it. Sounds fun. I don't know. It's entertaining being in a room with a voice actor. I'm just getting I'm getting used to that.
Yeah, I can rein it in if you want.
No, it's hilarious. It's like, it's not a common occurrence, and I love it. That's the thing. Because at some point in the future, I want to get more voice actors. Particularly, we want to get some from actually like who have been in the games. OGs, if possible, not necessary, if possible. Some of the newcomers, see what things are like when you're doing that sort of work for them.
They're definitely more professional about than I am. Like right now, I'm making a fourth wall reference. I'm sorry, my family who will watch this later. I should have been more professional. But I promise the library wanted me to be this insane.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. It's not, and like, this is the best part to me about this show is that it's not even that like it's a want. It's just, it's the vibe. You have to, because like if you walk into the library and you, even with the authors, even with like Kelly Gay, we were just sitting there and kind of just talking about how ridiculous some of the writing process was. And how nerve-wracking it was to write certain scenes. Instead of talking about the plot itself, we were talking about how annoying the writing process was.
Kelly Gay was a joy to have on.
She was great.
Very nice lady.
Yes. So that's just, you fit perfectly in. If anybody listens to this episode and they think that this is the outlier, they just need to go listen to the other 72 episodes.
You could bring any type of energy and you would still manage to fit in. Just because the amount, like how we are and like the number of guests we've had and like the difference in their personalities and their demeanor, it's just like we've gone from Kelly Gay to James C. Burns. It's been anywhere in between.
Yeah, some people.
It's just gonna be funny later on when they're like, "How was the podcast?" I'm like, "Great, I did Miss Piggy impression," and I'm like, "God dang it, Ed."
What were you saying?
I was saying that some people are like not what I would expect out of some people. Like Hidden Xperia, I didn't expect for him to be like as much as a dude as he was when he came in. Like I felt like we could have just kept talking afterwards.
No,
I expected him to be a little girly girl.
No, Hidden Xperia was super chill to have on as well.
Like I didn't expect him to be as chill as he was.
That's why this.
I didn't know you were chill like that.
I didn't know you were chill like that.
So bringing it back to the Chronicles and all of that. Speaking of things that are dubious in effort comparison to others. So here's the thing. I know I need to be very careful with what I say because we're making stories from Waypoint, literally a show built upon the Waypoint Chronicles, the story shards, the fractures, the intel drops. It's just that now that I'm making those shows and I'm getting to see what these stories are, it is kind of cool that there's something like, let's say in Precipice story shard. In Precipice, there is something at the very bottom that makes reference to what happens in Spartan Strike, because in Spartan Strike, there's an unfortunate thing that happens to Spartan Davis about 3/4 of the way through or near the end, where there are these things called durances. And the Durance is it's a Forerunner thing we've talked about here on the show before, probably way back with the original episodes, like the first 5 episodes. We probably talked about it then. We definitely talked about it during the episode about the Didact and the Composer. 100% talked about it then. But to recap, the Durance is essentially it's sort of like a advanced form of Tombstone. It is able to take a soul, quote unquote, and make a digital imprint of whatever it was or whoever it was that makes contact with it.
Hey there, Halo fans. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with our friends right after these messages.
So Davis makes contact with it, and he gets made into a digital imprint, effectively dying, quote unquote, but being preserved forever. And there's actually a bit of the story in Precipice that shows that it's like a choose your own adventure sort of thing, a very, very dumbed down, almost unnecessary choose your own adventure. I understand that it's experimental, but it's like there are certain places that it's like the experiment is not going to work as well as others. So I don't know. Being in the marketing field, I know that there's usually like you're trying to demonstrate to certain teams that certain things are possible, and so you use little pokes, little jabs in different directions to say we could try this, but it doesn't always work. And Precipice is probably one of the best examples, in my opinion, of something that doesn't quite work as well as it possibly could have in another aspect or a different execution, but. This choose your own adventure has a moment at the end where you as a character end up coming across a Durance, and you either have to just transport it or you can choose to open it. If you choose to open it, I think something horrible happens. I'm pretty sure like everything explodes or something, but that's neither here nor there. You open it and it has the imprint of Davis in it, and it's calling back to Spartan Strike. And this is it's an interesting concept, but it also makes the Halo plot feel a whole lot more desperate than it already felt like when we were playing things like Infinite or reading Epitaph. Great book, but you're running out of stuff to talk about. And the story in these Waypoint Chronicles, the shards, the fractures, the intel drops, all of it is pulling from things that have not been thought about for years. I think probably one of the craziest parts that I had seen, there's 2 of them that I can think of. The Waypoint Chronicle, Noble, like Winter Contention. Yeah, it was Winter Contention. It's about Noble Team, and it has Rosenda and Tom. Tom, we saw him in the Reach live action trailer, and Rosenda is straight up like ripped from concept art. Like she had just some concept art in Halo Reach, and then she was never added in. She was initially planned to be Noble 7. Then 7 was scrapped and Tom was replaced with 6. So she just never got a spotlight. But then she's brought back in the Chronicle, and now you get a little bit of her character in a story that makes very little sense to me, or at the very least, it's not long enough to make sense, I suppose, is a good way to put it. Because the odds that they go up against is like this should have been a whole like chapter in a book. It shouldn't have been this short story. And then there's the other one that I think of the most, which is it's a comic, and in this comic, I don't remember which comic it was, but there's a comic it's Lone Wolf, I think, Halo Lone Wolf. In it, there's a character that's an AI named Athos. Athos is cool because Athos is modeled after one of the 3 Musketeers, and that's just a really fun concept. But Athos ends up being in Precipice. He ends up in this short story being convinced to join the Assembly / the Created, and then they start crossing the streams with the Assembly and the Created. Basically, it gets super confusing, and it's like, it's why I want to talk about this in connection to Spartan Assault and Strike, is because Spartan Assault and Strike had such a simple open and close story, but then with these Waypoint Chronicles and these fractures and these story shards and these intel drops, it's like they're trying to make it more complex in hopes that at some point they'll find an open path that they can take the franchise down or something. But it's in such a strange format, and it doesn't feel like it has a whole lot of impact in the grand scale of the Halo universe, and it just kind of pulls it right back to what is the Halo universe doing? Where is it going? So I suppose turning that into a question, because I know that like 2 of you didn't track. 3 pulling that back to a question then, what are the thoughts in the room of something like taking a closed story, taking let's say we have Sloan, Governor Sloan from Halo 5. His story seems to be just kind of ended when he swears himself to Cortana, but then he comes back as High Auxiliary Sloan in Precipice, and then he has a little bit of an extra portion of the story that's added to the end of the latest re-release of Battleborn Meridian Divide. And that's all we have of him. But his story is now ending in a book. Once again, we have a character in a game that has a story ending in a book. So when we have this happening where we have these open and closed stories, unlike what we had with Didact and Warden, where their stories seem to be ended basically in their games, is this a good idea? Is that something that interests you guys? Or would you rather that they come up with their own unique stories that don't always tie into something?
I mean, I've always believed that you never need to find a way to tie a story into a larger picture.
But they always do. They always have for like the last 4 years.
Yeah, well, you don't have to.
I'm kind of, I feel like there could be better use of their time. I'm kind of with James. Like, but I mean, it doesn't bother me like that much to the point where I'm like, no, they can't be doing that. But it's just like, I think they could divert their time to something else, I guess. What that is, I don't know. I just don't see it, I guess, as an end game.
I just like original content.
Connor's a simple man.
I like simple things.
Oh. Well, I don't think what they're doing is a bad idea. As long as they don't continue this trend we see in almost all media of the first half of any book, game, or piece of media being exposition. If you're going to do exposition to explain everything when you leave something open or let them be a choose your own adventure, it is lazy. If you are setting stuff up where they can come back to it and organically put it into the next piece of content, okay, that's nice that you're leaving things open-ended, because there are some things that were brought back because of how much the fans want it and it just didn't work. At least by leaving an open end, you can go in any direction. If they had not left the end of Halo 2, the video game, open-ended in the way that they did, the third game might have suffered, because around the time the third game was being made, they were splitting from Microsoft, and there was a lot of disagreement internally, especially with Alex gone and Parsons gone and so forth, and then he came back. And I think that the idea of how they're doing these Waypoint Chronicles and this choose your own adventure thing, by the way, Goosebumps did better. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I don't fault them for going in this direction at all. I don't. And unlike my friends from BPS like Arbiter, who had fun making riffs on 343, I actually spoke to people in there. When they explained to me why they did something, I was like, okay, I get it. I would have never gone in that direction. I would have never thought of that, but I get it. So if you're dissatisfied with something, express your dissatisfaction, because unfortunately, in terms of media, we're all trying to finger the pulse of what everyone wants. And that is something that I hate to be on the bandwagon. James Cameron does very well with his Avatar movies.
Yeah.
He really knows how to finger the pulse of what people want without over exposition and going, "Ooh, look at these digital effects." No, he pays attention to everything. He said to himself, second movie was characters. No more of this ooh ah.
That's a wonderful way of looking at it. Because I do appreciate all of that, because the goal here is not to just say, hey, Wakeford, wake up, you're making bad stuff. No, that's not at all what I'm saying, because some of those chronicles are actually fantastic and I love them. I think Sunrise on St. Helios is probably one of the best pieces that we could have ever gotten. I've been waiting for that conversation for years.
What a beautiful name.
Sunrise on St. Helios?
Yes.
Yeah.
It goes insanely hard.
The whole story does. Especially when Keith David read it live and said the species name wrong. Kulo.
I was gonna say, I didn't know that's what he was reading. You showed me the video. I didn't know that's what he was reading.
Yeah, that's what he was reading. It's so funny. Just like Keith David out here like has not touched Halo in probably almost 10 years.
I mean, when did he do that? When was that reading? When did he do that?
Last year.
So I mean, Halo 5 was 15. 2015. So about
he probably did the voice acting in 2014.
About 8 years, 9 years. So yeah, damn.
Yep.
Oh man.
Stop talking about time.
Ugh.
Yeah, I feel bad because like I think Keith David actually does care a whole lot about the character, but meeting him in person, he was so exhausted, I think, by just how many energetic 40-year-old men there were.
Oh my god. He probably just wanted to go back and just relax. He probably got tired of everyone coming up to him.
Probably.
You know, I'd probably mix things up and just be like, so how was it playing Sergeant Foley?
Or how was it playing the president in Rick and Morty?
I don't know.
I don't think Keith was tired of people coming up to him. Not at all. You should see how much he gets involved with his new fan base from the Has-Been Hotel community. My God, you would go insane with how many fans he's gotten just off of that.
That's good to know.
I mean, the guy's
he got really excited and went to the opening.
I just know how some like people can get with like, you know, constantly having phones in their face. Can you sign this for me? Can you take a picture? But well, I mean, it's good to know. It's good to know that it at least seems like he's at peace with it. Because I know I'd probably I'd get tired of it.
And for the record, I don't actually hate Halo 5. I completely understand everyone's criticism of it. I don't hate it. Especially since I was almost in it.
Yeah, no bias whatsoever.
No, not at all.
No. I think it's amazing that Ike could voice match and overdub voice clapping. He literally had to do like ADR anime dubbing over the performance capture because Mike Holder didn't voice mimic to his voice acting. Ike had to voice act to his body acting. He had to do like ADR, like when people did the Pokemon dubs and all the other anime dubs. He had to do that for a prelay video game. That is a tall order for anybody. And
actually kind of makes me think because like I'm thinking about this now. That definitely would explain why certain things like, let's say, like the "you ask, you buy" line would be. It looked a little off, just the tiniest bit by like a couple frames, and I'm one of the few people that would even care to notice that. But it explains that. But I'm actually kind of wondering now, in your opinion, what do you think would be harder? Because we have an example of this of both in Halo now. Halo 5, Ike trying to match to Mr. Coulter, or the new mocap actors for Halo 2 Anniversary trying to match with the original dialogue from Halo 2.
Oh, 100% Ike. The other one I've actually dabbled with because I'm a puppeteer. I've had to puppeteer existing audio and not miss a single beat for an hour straight.
Oh my god!
My hand while I'm sitting on the ground.
Oh man!
And yeah, so what I had to do was way harder because you do not get to edit the lip flaps. You do not get to turn in a half-ass performance. You do not get to be in there longer than maybe 3 hours in a day because they want to get as much as they can before hitting another hour and having to pay you for another hour. No, what he had to do was way harder, and I give him all the credit. world for that.
It is. It's wild to think about, like, because when you're in the Halo community and you're watching everybody pretty much just talk nonstop crap about the effort that a lot of people put in, just taking 1 single second just to think about how much effort on all fronts everybody has to put in just to make something so simple appeal, like a seemingly simple thing happen. That's why I still give appreciation to Wakeford corrected me a long time ago, said, hey, don't credit me as the guy behind the Waypoint stuff. He DM'd me. He was like, hey, I hear it in the intro. Thanks to Alex Wakeford and the franchise writing team. Don't say that. It's the franchise writing team. I write it. My name is on there, but there's other people that are helping with that. And I'm like, okay. But I say the things that I say today because I'm saying it as just basically genuine feedback, just genuine concern, question, that whole thing. I understand very well that whatever it is that they're doing to try to make Halo feel alive in one of the driest periods it's ever had in its entire franchise lifespan, it's hard. It's a difficult thing to do. And I only really understand it in a deeper way because what I do is for my full-time job is doing the whole global marketing thing. I'm the voice of a company. I have to take input from sales, from the marketing team, from the CEO, from everybody around me, and I have to try to take that and craft a story out of it and make it coherent across all the platforms. And everybody else, it's just another TikTok. And so that's why I try to open these sort of discussions, because I don't want someone to end up in the thought that, oh, they're just doing the Waypoint Chronicles because they have no other ideas. It's like, that's probably not even true. That the reality of it is probably that it was the easiest thing to execute on as quickly as possible, and they have a bunch of other ideas that they're currently trying to chisel out. It's just the direction of some of those stories is where a lot of the questions come in and ties back to other concerns we've had in the franchise. Right
now, after Halo Infinite, the possibilities are puts on sunglasses, endless.
They really are, because, okay, have you read Epitaph?
I have not read Epitaph, unfortunately.
Okay, then I will not say a single thing about the plot, but I will say, let's just say it wraps up everything about the Reclaimer saga. Everything about it. Like, it is...
Okay.
It closes the door on every possibility that could ever be thought of. That everything that you know of from Halo 4, 5... that's nothing of that is coming back ever again. They are...
well, if that's true, and they have a clean slate, and obviously Microsoft is open to letting them have a clean slate because they're letting Coalition do that prequel Gears of War video game. If they're doing it there, they're probably doing it at 343 too. So let's see where we go from here. But there's so many things that they are talking about. Joe, we replace Master Chief because his voice actor is 62 years old. Should we do this, that? And the sad truth is that Halo didn't fizzle because of one company's actions. Halo fizzled because other people came into the game. When Halo 3 came out, we got Modern Warfare 2, we got the indie game stuff, we got all these new IPs, new studios, and we had so many choices. Like, I remember when everybody was on Halo 3. Everybody. Like, 2011. Then almost every other person was on a different game, and that's why it feels like it's not the good old days. Because someone did a bad decision, because no one could make that big of a splash to keep everyone on the same game. It's all over for anybody.
Yeah. The challenges are always there. That's the thing that I'm trying to keep in mind, and what I constantly try to remind other people of is that it's I've heard it so many times. I get so tired of it. The whole Halo, like 343 hates Halo. That whole concept doesn't make any sense to me. Never will make any sense to me. It's because they clearly love it more than a whole lot of people who are willing to just say goodbye to the franchise because it made a decision that they didn't enjoy. It's the the shocking stuff. Because even if, let's say, like Spartan Assault Strike, people didn't like those concepts. They didn't like having a Halo game on mobile. But that was just because it was bad timing, I think. And also because it was on the Windows phone, and that phone sucked.
I mean, the way I look at it, it's just like they're reaching out to like a niche part of the fan base. Like, oh, if you want to play, something like super casually, like there you go. Like, I haven't played it like much at all, but like it doesn't bother me at all that it's there. Like, what I prefer, like an actual like mainline Halo game. Like, absolutely, I think most Halo fans would. But it doesn't bother me that there's like mobile games. Like, there's people that want to, like, we have our flight to HCS. I'm sure Austin will try to have us play the mobile games. Like, yep, you guys are playing it now. You have an 8-hour flight. Go for it. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'll never understand something like that. Like no, that shouldn't be a thing. Like, if you don't want it, just don't play it. But like, it doesn't do any harm. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, it was a matter, like, these days, if a Halo mobile game dropped, mobile games are in a perfect position.
Mm-hmm.
People are playing them like crazy.
Right.
But back in that time, that was like 2012, 2013, 2014.
Right.
And people were just not doing it. That was Clash of Clans season. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I played them, and for a top-down game, I thought I was gonna like not be into it, and I was like, "Oh, this is all right."
It's
And,
solid.
and I'm like, "Oh, they threw in some cutscenes." The second one was more animatic. I'm like, okay, cheaping down the second game. But the first one, was okay. The second one had much better color fidelity and palette. But oh my god, the vehicular controls on both games are terrible.
That is true. That is very true. The vehicles are pretty terrible. The only thing that I really don't like about those games, aside from Spartan Strike not having co-op, because that's just dumb. When the first one had co-op, why would you remove it when the first game had it? We're not going to turn this into an infinite commentary.
We've seen that pattern.
But aside from that, it was that there are these things that are called like common, like there's something like challenges. They're challenges of some kind. I don't remember what they're actually called, but there's an achievement to get all of these challenges that are specific to every mission. There are 3 challenges for every mission in Spartan Assault, at least that I remember. Every single one. There are 25 or 30. I think there are 30 missions in Spartan Assault. So that's 90 challenges you have to do. Almost all of them require playing the mission over and over and over and over and over again. So you're in the thousands by the time that you get to that achievement. And it was like, that's the only part that really stood in the way, was that very early, how do we get people to keep playing the mobile game thinking. And it was rough.
Yeah, well, when I bought yesterday, Strike was $2.99, and for $2.99, I'm not complaining.
No, not at all. That's probably one of the best parts, is that you can get them for ridiculously cheap now these days. I never minded them. I enjoy them a lot. I wouldn't mind them coming back. I've already said it already. The best thing that could possibly happen for Halo, that being, here is a mainline game with next year being an anniversary promised, maybe, and then not only is this new game coming out, but in the months leading up to it, here's a mobile game that has a story that's tying into this mainline story. So it's like, I think at the time I referenced Splinter Cell Blacklist had this, it had this Spider-Bot app or something, and Spider-Bot had a story and a challenge system and all of that, and all of it would tie back into Splinter Cell Blacklist. You could earn items in Blacklist by playing the app. And I'm like, that sort of thing would be awesome, in my opinion, if they brought back that. Even if it's not top down, even if they just hire the guy Doberman Studios who did Spartan Runner, one of my favorite games of all time on mobile. Then why not? Actually, hold on. Have you played Spartan Runner?
I have not played Spartan Runner, unfortunately.
Bro.
Bro.
You gotta. It's
all right.
It's free on mobile. It's fun. It's addicting. And I am proud to be, first of all, I just want to pat myself on the back here, gentlemen. Top 100 and got a flaming helmet. You need all the skulls to get that bad boy, and the golden shotgun. That's really hard to get. What was that?
I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, what,
Do you just
I'll give
direct
it
me
a
like a composer?
Sorry, James did
Yeah.
something very weird. Our James did something very weird.
I'll explain when you're older.
It's like, what'd I do?
What do you
That
mean?
voice acting not
I'm
knowing it?
25.
That's the hard part. You're currently in this transitional period where you can't see us yet. Eventually, our guests will be able to see us.
Yeah.
But for now, you kind of have to be in this limbo of what are they doing? We could be absolutely like making horrible faces every time you're talking. You wouldn't even know.
Oh, geez, people wonder what I'm doing when I do the little hunchback guy from Gears of War, the Wretch. Yeah, I had to do the Wretch for somebody once, and they were like, "What were you doing to get that sound?"
Connor looks very befuddled. Connor's our Gears of War guy, and he's like, "Wait, what do you mean?"
Wait, the guy that hobbles across the ground like on all fours, running at you, wretches,
Yeah.
and they go like.
I'm sorry. Could you hit me with that one more time?
Okay.
It's super cool, but it sounds really funny when you're just on our floor because we have to use our phone to hear you at the moment.
Sound like my cat when I wake him up. It sounds like my cat.
Sounds like a wrench.
That's super sick. I love it though. Oh gosh. Well, we're coming up on the end of the episode for today. For everyone who is listening, and especially the Patreon. Yeah, no Patreon today. That's because we're still transitioning from getting rid of all the Community Thursday episodes. Saying this officially, if you want the Community Thursday episodes, they're up on YouTube. And if you're a Patreon member, you can still download them via your Patreon download link. So that's all there. Mr. James, I need to be convinced to rewatch Rise of the Spartans. If you could give me a synopsis on what people could expect if they are to watch that series, how would you put it?
Well, let's put it this way. If you've ever wanted to see amalgamation of other Spartan personalities and to see them focus on whether they can leave this thing they were indoctrinated into or whether they can find their own purpose for continuing the mission of surviving against the Covenant, it's definitely a win. And there's a lot of humanity, even on the Covenant side with the elite characters. And some of the people that were in it went on to be very big names in the voice acting industry, including John Michael Villa-Gomez, myself, of course. and the amazing thing about the series is that almost every character in that series, the director went to the person and said, "What do you want to be with this character?" I was in charge of making Brass's personality and everything. And every character in the show also got that thing. So you were not just seeing a character that was written. You were seeing what someone took someone's dream character and put it in a screenwriting. I don't think I've ever had another experience where everyone got to choose their own character and one person had to make 490 pages of screenplay to fit it all in.
Yikes.
Yeah. So it is the ultimate fan fiction.
Well, I straight up got to know now your opinion. I know there's two different versions of Rise of the Spartans. Is the director's cut the definitive way to watch it?
Oh, the original version is technically better because it has so much pop culture soundtrack stuff. The director's cut is the one that doesn't get taken down by copyright. If you can see every one in the original version, you will especially love what happens to my character in part 8 with that beautiful Star Trek soundtrack piece. But the director's cut did do a lot of things over, especially with people who got their voice acting equipment upgraded. I think the director told me, "You're the only one that doesn't need to redo any of their lines because they were all pretty good anyway." And I'm like, I have a hard time believing that. And I watched them all and I'm like, okay, now I kind of believe you.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Well, I think we're going to be wrapping it up right there for today. But my friend, before we wrap it up, is there anything that you would like to inform our audience about? Anything that you want to share that you're working on that we can get excited about? Anything that people in the Discord, for example, might be interested in adding you about later on when they hear this episode?
Give yourself a little shout out.
Yeah. So I am always available for voice acting. I can waive my rates if you're not going to make $10,000 on it. And in terms of projects, I just released a comic thing on a YouTube channel called Dragon Fox Girl, where I played Alistair. Yes, that was fun. And in the future, I'm planning to get some original animation work done with actual animators, like our own little Disney studio. I have a plan in the next, I'll say 15 or so years to get an original short animation done. I do have one thing I want to share that everybody should know. I have the rights to the Rise of the Spartans IP. And I have a project on my shelf that was going to be a sequel movie follow-up to it. And I didn't do it because of things that happened around the creative Rise of the Spartans last year. I have respect to the others. But I still get, gentle nudges. Maybe you should do it anyway. I would love to hear everybody's feedback on whether the art of a generation can surpass the misgivings of the creator and can still exist. I would love to hear people's feedback on that, on to whether I should finish it. It's been sitting half finished on my computer for 3 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, but it's fine. All my voice actors got paid and everything, so they're all good. I'm also going to be in this awesome podcast, and I forgot when it started. Oh, wait, we already did. Never mind. So
Well, we're very thankful that you were able to join us for today.
Yes,
it's been a process just trying to get things lined up with availability, and I'm glad that you were able to, despite a lot of hardship to try to get here, that you finally were able to find the time. It has been just as fun as I was expecting. So,
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man. But for everyone listening, if you want to hang out with folks like Mr. James, if you want to meet with other content creators, hang out with other folks that have similar love for Halo, similar love for gaming industry stuff, then you can head over to discord.gg/JumperScape. If you want to support us directly, get yourself some nice little things, or just get access to the video versions of these episodes, then you can go to patreon.com/JumperScape. As low as $1 per month will get you a whole lot of stuff. Now, other than that, a couple other updates. The calendar project, if you haven't supported already, it's on Indiegogo right now, and you can either go to Discord to go and find it, or you can just search up Halo Community Calendar 2025 Indiegogo. It'll probably pop up on Google if you just do that. And right now we have, probably by the time this episode comes out, hit $2,000 raised to make this project happen. That is more than enough to order the bulk and to almost pay off all of our artists. So all of the support that you guys have given has been invaluable. For those who haven't gotten yourself a calendar yet, or haven't gotten one for a gift or something like that, I saw somebody get 4 calendars because they're getting one for all of their family members for Christmas.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
If you haven't done that yet, they're still around. And once they're gone on Indiegogo, I'm not selling them anywhere. That is something that is very not legal. So I will only be having them available with the Indiegogo. If we surpass the goal, it'll just go towards the artists and go towards JumperScape's future projects. So your support is very much helpful, and we thank you for everybody who has already ordered one. Other than that, next week, we can look forward to... Oh, you want me to drop that too? Okay, Odd Dog Crochet has a Patreon now. and the sale. There's a lot to mention that you haven't mentioned.
I mentioned it in last week's community episode that you decided not to release.
Yeah. So
She got you.
So would you like to take my seat and tell everybody everything that has to be up to, because I don't remember all of the details.
Do you want to finish your stuff first and then I can jump up?
And once I say my thing, it's over.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm going to be saying what we're doing next week.
I go last.
Well, you have to come over here. Yeah.
Shane could move his mic.
I hope you're being entertained, Mr. James.
Yeah, honestly, Connor's idea wasn't that bad. I literally could have flipped the mic. Like,
it's too late.
It is
Oh,
too
yeah.
late.
It's too late. I have
It's never
taken
too late.
Austin's
never
spot
too
and usurped him.
late.
Yeah, so this is Cheyenne. In case you don't recognize my voice, I've been like floating around in the background
Disembodied voice in the walls.
the last few podcasts. I am also the creator behind Odd Duck Crochet, and so there's a few exciting announcements with that. With the calendar thing, two of the tiers, you can get a plushie that I've made at about a 25% discount. So it's like a little extra fun bundle. You get to remember when your mom's birthday is and also get a plushie. But if you're like, I don't want to remember my mom's birthday, I hate her, and you just want the plushie, I am currently doing a sale to celebrate having my business for 1 year. And so that sale is currently ongoing and it'll be going until September 1st. So if you're like, yeah, man, I could really go for one of those plushies, now is the time. It's a great time. I think the discount is like 25%. And that's on both my Etsy. It's automatically applied on my Etsy. And if you use anniversary as a code at checkout on my website, which just launched, you can also get the discount too. I was trying to figure out how to make it like automatically apply and couldn't. So anyway, there's some kinks to kind of work out with the website, but it's really exciting, and Etsy will eventually be shut down as I like transition over to doing that. But I'm also planning on having like patterns for free, and like doing tutorials on a YouTube. Like there's a lot of ideas that I have that are eventually going to get underway. So just like keep your eye on that space if like you care about crochet plushies at all. And as Austin mentioned, like, yeah, I did also start a Patreon to kind of help with, buying the yarn for different plushie designs and stuff like that. So especially like you can go on there and Patreon members will get to be able to vote on like what they think I should design next, stuff like that. Like I said, if it's something that you care about at all, like it gives you a little bit more say, extra updates, that kind of thing. I think that's all. Cool.
If there's anything else, we can add it into the intro if you want.
Yeah, we can add it into the intro, and then you'll also need to make sure to like blur out my feet because I don't have on shoes.
So true.
The entire the Discord.
Oh, Charlie horse. Oh no. Oh no.
Just flex your muscles.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
so basically
toes
make
back,
your
pull your
wife
toes
back.
like
I'm doing it,
Halo 2
okay.
Cortana. They can't render the feet.
You know how much Charlie horses hurt before you knew what to do?
So, with all that being said,
I've got
next
two
week
of them.
we're going on and we're wrapping all of this up, ending off with Halo Infinite one final time.
Oh boy.
Just talking about some of the extra. No, this
Yeah.
is just
Yep.
the story
Yep.
in
Yep.
there. I'm trying to figure out if there's
The
anything extra.
expansive, the in detail,
No rants to be
the
had
alive
whatsoever.
world. No.
I'll read Rubicon Protocol and see if I get anything out of that. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for listening or watching on Patreon today, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday with Halo Infinite.
The library was produced and published by JumperScape Audio. Funding was provided by our fantastic patrons on Patreon. If you enjoy the show and wish to support JumperScape's future projects or get some sweet benefits, join our Patreon at patreon.com/JumperScape or become part of this truly special community at discord.gg/JumperScape. Thank you for your listenership, and we hope you enjoyed.